Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Will, what were
agree.
you going to say?
Well, I was just curious since Chad's, he's a, I guess, multi-state operator, mostly in South Carolina, but Chad, you are in Texas, and I know you got some going on board in Florida and some other places. Does does this factor into where you late wage rates and labor laws and things like that? Does that factor into where y'all decide to expand?
Not necessarily where we decide to expand, but I think it will weigh into how we operate in different states. So, for example, we're going to be opening up our first store in the Jacksonville, Florida market, coming in probably late summer is our guess at this point in time. And there, I think minimum wage for tipped employees is eight something an hour currently, but every year it's going up and up and up and up. And I think it gets up to like 16 at some point in time. And so you're forced to rethink the model, right? I mean, you can't have the same exact model that we have where, our tipped employees are 213. And so for one of our tipped employees or for one of their tipped employees, it would be like four of ours. So that you just can't continue to operate in the same way. You gotta think outside the box and do something a little bit different. So we haven't put together the full game plan on how we're gonna do that yet. So but I think that's definitely gonna be a conversation that will be had sometime in the next month or so.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I think the whole game in restaurants now is efficiency, right? Like and then the 213 an hour, at least this is my observation, is it's not doesn't require the restaurant to be terribly efficient, because if you overstaff for a bad Friday, it doesn't really hurt the restaurant that much. It actually does hurt the staff. Obviously, they may quit if they're doing a bunch of slow Fridays, but the economics aren't impossible.
Yeah, it's a very fine line you walk for sure.
Yeah,
Because I mean, I think I hope to think that most operators are like myself and we're very people first, right? Like we want to make sure that I believe that if we take care of our people, they'll take care of our customers. I'm not a customer first person, so you know,
right.
shoot me if you need to, but that's just the way that I've always been. So let's take care of our staff, and in that case, it is really a fine line because you're right. It's easy to be like, oh, we'll just put 10 servers on. They're only $2 an hour. Like that's, equivalent to, one line cook, but that's just
Right.
not the case. So you can't do that and operate well too. So it is a fine line that you kind of walk and dance along. And then, in Morgan's case, it's the complete opposite. There's no way you could just be like, oh yeah, staff however many servers you want. That would never work for you guys because they're making probably almost what, a line,
Yeah.
probably getting close to what a line cooks makes anyways there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just it. And our margin of error on scheduling is so much tighter because of it. I can have three extra bodies, and all of a sudden I completely missed my mark.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and so
it's your
yeah.
largest cost, right? It's your
Mhm.
largest cost in the business is your people. And so, what that's the constant like struggle, but that's also where, tools like Schedule come in that make your life a lot easier for scheduling and understanding what your budget's going to be and how to schedule for the week and how to schedule for the day and so on.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's a really difficult balance, and it's a difficult thing to unlearn because I grew up in restaurants and all traditional service models, and the old go-to is just throw a body at the problem. If guests are unattended to, you need more people there to attend to them. And I still find myself in shock sometimes when the model's working, and somebody is trying to figure it out because we missed them at the greet. And so we're rather than throwing bodies at it, though, we have to throw more effort into training and accurate signage and our touch points of service, which have shifted to the delivery of the first beer, the delivery of the water, and not the initial order taking meet and greet like it is in a service model. So that those pain points still exist, but how you address them has changed significantly. And so even as an operator, it's been very difficult to learn how to let go of some of that stress when you see it happening and you realize that you can't fix it right now. You have to wind the clock back. You have to think about, okay, how do I fix this for next time with more effective training and better understanding of how the model works?